Hello, everybody. Good morning to everyone from Singapore. Hi, yes, I hope you all enjoy the music. So, good morning, everyone from Singapore. My name is Gary, and I'll be your MC for today's program. Once again, on behalf of Enterprise Singapore, we would like to express our appreciation to all industry partners and attendees for taking the time off your busy schedules to join us at our event today. We have an exciting lineup of activities this morning, and we hope that they will provide you with meaningful insights relating to how technology and collaboration will pave the way forward. To kick things off, first, please let us welcome Mr. Peter Ong, Chairman of Enterprise Singapore, to deliver his opening remarks. Chairman, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us at the Singapore Transport and Logistics Insights series. We've organized this in collaboration with our 28 partners to help local transport and logistics businesses learn more about the capabilities that it could enhance and initiatives that can be tapped to capture business opportunities. On this final day of the series, we will share new avenues for businesses in the sector to uplift their capabilities. To deepen open innovation between corporates and startups and small and medium-sized enterprises, we will be launching the third Trade and Connectivity Challenge, also known as TCC. At the Tech Dialogue, industry veterans will reflect on how businesses can use technologies to manage, optimize, and even grow operations. It has been almost 2 years since COVID-19 hit us. Like most industries, Singapore's trade and connectivity sector is facing immense changes. Accelerated transition to a digital economy, increased bifurcation of supply chains, and a shift towards sustainability are some to name. Singapore took a prudent and balanced approach in handling the pandemic, safeguarding public health whilst keeping our doors open for trade and business. This has allowed us to build on our reputation as a trusted trading hub. But is this enough? What can our SMEs do to tide through the difficult times and to look for new growth? Let me share 3 observations on how some local innovators are developing new solutions to uplift fellow SMEs' capabilities during this pandemic period. With movement restrictions, COVID-19 has made e-commerce an imperative. To aid companies in their digital transformation and support supply chains in meeting demand surges, Infolog has developed a one-stop omni-channel integration platform for e-commerce management. With this solution, users can quickly integrate their existing systems with different retail channels, ranging from e-commerce platforms, online marketplaces, to brick-and-mortar stores to retrieve orders and fulfill them seamlessly. Recent supply chain disruptions have also led to a demand for greater transparency on the movement of goods to support the need for network agility and enhanced orchestration of supply chains. To that, companies like Mega Fortress, Biotic, and MP Online have come together to develop a new next-generation smart box. These IoT-enabled tote boxes will not only provide logistics operators with real-time visibility on cargo movements, they will also have an auditable function to identify liability when met with costly events like pilferage or cargo spoilage. Workplace restrictions have also spurred companies to rethink their need for automation. To help warehouse operators sustain their operations and keep global supply chains moving, BotSync has developed a series of automation solutions to address such needs. These fine homegrown examples show how our local ecosystem has evolved from being adopters of technology to being developers of our own solutions. While COVID has presented new opportunities for innovative business developments, few feel equipped to pursue. Hence, this Insights series is an augmentation of what Enterprise Singapore thinks is necessary to equip companies with capability upgrading opportunities and know-how to meet new challenges. This is why it covers topics from HR best practices, the launch of new standards, to emerging areas such as sustainability. At the enterprise level, digitalization and automation remain as pertinent challenges for the sector. A recent DBS survey on digital readiness showed that only 72% of Singapore SMEs have a form of digital transformation strategy. There is more that can be done on this front, given the extensive government support packages available. To future-proof our sector, we also need bold and ambitious projects that can vastly improve Singapore's standing as a trade node. This means that we must remain open to industry-level collaborations, as well as double down on the use of digital infrastructure, such as SG TradeX, that can synchronize supply chain processes and improve the connectivity of supply chain ecosystems locally and globally. With a global shift towards sustainability, Singapore companies must recognize the need to make the green transition. I'm happy to note that two scale-up SG companies, Accent Solutions and Evercom Singapore, and local fintech startup Hashtags are driving a new collaboration known as CO2X. This initiative will allow optimization of fleet to achieve cost savings, reduce carbon footprints, and open access to green financial services. A memorandum of understanding with 10 industry partners to explore collaborations in the use of this sustainability solution will be signed later. The pandemic has placed additional pressure on corporates to deal with business disruptions and improve the longevity of their business. Companies must realize how technology game changers can revolutionize the state of their businesses. Last year, we embarked on 3 national innovation challenges under the ambit of the TCC industry track. The 3 projects by SETS, YCH, and Container Depot and Logistics Association of Singapore, or CDAS, were meaningful in their own ways. For example, CDAS, which is the trade association representing the interests of container depot and logistics operators, put up a challenge to call for solutions capable of inspecting containers autonomously or remotely to solve long-standing industry issues. Through this challenge, 4 solvers were selected to introduce automated, AI-driven inspection solutions that can be adopted to reduce the reliance on manual labor and improve handling capacities at depots. Our local ground handling company, SETS, is also working with Accent Solution to introduce a smart airway bill track and trace solution. The introduction of a common standard for SAWB labels offers the industry an opportunity to streamline the manner it identifies, tracks, and processes shipments through critical handling points. By adopting common standards that reduce fragmentation in the industry and increase cohesiveness, the ability of the industry to provide superior air freight services is enhanced. On the logistics front, YCH is working with French AI company Fieldbox.ai to create a concept known as Warehouse Virtual Operations Manager, or WVOM. It is a cost-efficient and user-friendly resource management and planning solution that optimizes productivity regarding manpower and equipment utilization at warehouse operations. Startups and SMEs have an advantage to enable agile problem solving. The participation of the 6 entities, such as Accent and Fieldbox.ai, are clear demonstrations of how they can contribute to the problem-solving process. Innovation continues to be at the top of ESG's priorities in driving economic transformation activities. Today's launch of the 2021 edition of the Trade and Connectivity Challenge is a testament to ESG's continued belief that open innovation platforms are an effective means to catalyze co-innovation between corporates and startups, to boost the overall capabilities and resilience of our businesses. TCC 2021 will feature 13 challenge statements from 9 corporate sponsors. We are pleased to welcome back companies such as Lumens Auto and SingPost, and their repeat participation validates the value they have been able to derive. Thank you to our partners who have helped realize TL Insights and TCC 2021. I'm confident that our collective efforts will help trade and connectivity sectors seize opportunities for innovation and growth. With that, I would like to wish you all a fruitful time today, and I declare TCC 2021 open. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Now, to help companies in Singapore's trade and connectivity sectors discover solutions that will address on-the-ground operational needs, the Trade and Connectivity Challenge is back for its 3rd edition. Organized by Enterprise Singapore, TCC 2021 aims to drive partnerships in joint innovation, development, and use of new solutions in the aviation, maritime, land mobility, and logistics sector. The application phase will begin from now till 30th December 2021, so don't wait. After which, we will have 2 rounds of shortlisting before going on to pitch day on the 3rd of March 2022. Now this year, our 9 corporate challenge sponsors are CarTrack, PLG, Dinata, Sembcorp Marine, GKE, SingPost, Legend Logistics, UPS, and Lumens Auto. In total, we have 13 challenge statements. I would like to also highlight that all 9 challenge sponsors are committed to taking on at least 1 paid trial per challenge statement. So that's a very huge opportunity for everyone. Once again, a big thank you to all our corporate challenge sponsors for these very generous gestures. Now, the time is here. Let's take a sneak peek into what we can expect from TCC 2021.
Innovation has helped solve different problems for the logistics industry. We believe innovation increases efficiency and reduce error in the operational process. We would like to call upon your expertise to help us in our new venture.
Over the last 18 months, the transportation industry has helped people stuck at home and businesses who had to close their physical facilities through rapid innovation, ensuring that life and trade goes on. We look forward to collaborating with the startup community to take our innovation journey forward through TCC 2021.
Lumens Auto believes strongly in the power of innovation. Innovation allows us to do more with less. This is why Lumens has participated in the TCC for 2 consecutive years. The TCC enables companies like Lumens to collaborate with startups to solve the problem of the industry. We strongly encourage all startups to join the TCC 2021.
All right, folks, and now the moment we have all been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to announce that the website for Trade and Connectivity Challenge 2021 is now officially live. From now till 30th December 2021, the website will be open to startups from all over the world. We look forward to all your innovative solutions. And with that, before we proceed to the next segment of this very exciting program we have today, let us go through some house rules. First, you are highly encouraged to submit your questions on the various event segments via the Q&A function you see on the Zoom screen. Next, you can also upvote by clicking the thumbs up button to bring popular questions to the top of the Q&A window so that our panelists can address them. And finally, you can exchange ideas with one another by answering others' questions or leaving a comment on their questions. All right, and now that we are ready, let's move on to our next exciting segment for today, the Tech Dialogue 2021. Today, we are joined by an esteemed panel made up of representatives from trade associations and companies who are all at the forefront of the trade and connectivity space. Today's Tech Dialogue will involve virtual learning journey at two companies, Lim Siang Huat and Eastport Maritime. Through these learning journeys, we will understand how digital tools have enabled fellow SMEs to improve their business operations both in the long and short run. After which, we will have a panel discussion involving our very esteemed members. These members are Mr. Jack Lim, the Chief Executive Officer of Lim Siang Huat, Mr. John Ng, Senior Executive Director of Eastport Maritime Private Limited, Mr. Ricky Lu, the Deputy President of the Container Depot and Logistic Association Singapore, also known as CDAS, and Mr. Teo Teng Seng, the Chairman of Digital Transformation Committee of Singapore Shipping Association. And finally, our moderator for the discussion, Mr. Law Chong Meng, Executive Director for Transport and Logistics at Enterprise Singapore. We are all looking forward to hearing how our ecosystem partners, like local associations, are supporting their industry's digital transformation efforts. All right, without further ado, let me hand over the time to Mr. Jack Lim of Lim Siang Huat, who will take us through the first learning journey for today. Mr. Lim, please.
Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Jack. I'm the CEO of Lim Siang Huat. Lim Siang Huat is a food and beverage distribution company. We are also a food logistics service provider, right? So this morning, we are going to give you a tour of our operations in the warehouse, as well as some of the technologies that we have adopted, right? So before we proceed with that, let us play a short video introduction of the company so you have a better understanding of the company while I make my way down to the warehouse. welcome back. Now we are on the second level of the building here. So we are at the warehouse right now. Behind me, you can see this is our V&A warehouse. So this is called a V&A as in very narrow aisle. You can see the aisles is only about 1.8 meters. This is about half the size of a regular width of a warehouse. So of course, with this, storage efficiency is definitely more enhanced. At the same time, we are using a specialized V&A truck. So the operator actually goes all the way up together with the pallets. So that also improves the ergonomics of the operator itself. All right, come, let's follow me. So this is the width of a regular house. Okay, so you can see how much space the V&A actually saves. Right, so every day we have about 1,000 orders or so coming in from our various customers. Right, it could be customers from our food service sector or the retail sector. So it could be like the mini marts, supermarkets, could be coffee shops, cafes, restaurants, hotels. Right, so all these orders comes in by email, by fax, by our e-store as well. And from there, it's being entered into our Oracle ERP system. And once it's in the system, it's being uploaded to our warehouse management system. The warehouse management system controls all the inventory, handling all our locations of the products, as well as the first in, first out. So as a food company, first in, first out is very important for us in terms of controlling expiry dates of the products. Right. So once the orders are in to the WMS, it's being pumped into our PDA, and then we will do the picking. So all the orders has to be physically picked, obviously. So right now, Tamin here, my colleague here, will demonstrate how the picking is done. So the PDA actually has the data of all the orders. So it will indicate to the picker what is the location of the goods, what product to pick, and the quantity to pick. So we will just refer to the PDA itself, scan to confirm that he's at the correct location, scan the product to make sure that he's picking the correct product, and thereafter he will bring it onto the pallet itself. So it's actually quite straightforward. With this, actually we achieve paperless picking. Okay, so with this we achieve paperless picking, and so what happened is that previously, without this, what we did was that in the office itself, we have to print out, the orders are in, we have to print out a picking list, physically print out a picking list, bring it down to the warehouse, and from there the pickers will do the picking. Once the picking is done, they have to come down, pick it up, bring up to the office, go through all the picking, make sure that it's all correctly picked, then they will generate the invoice. Thanks, Tammy. Then after it's picked, then they'll generate invoice, and then that is considered done. But right now, all these steps are eliminated. There's no need to do physical printing of picking lists, no need to actually bring it down, no need to pass around the paper. And of course, with the pandemic, this actually helps us to improve our supply chain resilience as well. All right. So, and in terms of picker itself, it's actually more efficient for him because previously with the picking list, he has to go around the whole warehouse looking for the product. And then we have to cross our fingers and make sure that he picked the correct item. But with the PDA, actually it tells him the location to go to directly. And by scanning barcodes, actually picking efficiency is improved very, very greatly. All right. And without printing paper as well, we have estimated that the cost saving itself is about $20,000 a year, just saving the paper and the ink. All right. So, okay, next I want to show you is the something that we've developed. So this is something that we've developed. This is what we call a mobile vacuum lifter. All right, it's basically using a vacuum technology for us to help us to transfer goods from one pallet to another pallet. All right, now Paolong will demonstrate how it's done. So basically, it's just using vacuum technology to lift the product up, and then you just bring it over and then put it down. There is very little effort required. All right, the bags of flour weighs about 25 kilos, but the way it's being done right now is just using the vacuum technology to bring it around. So you can just put it down easily. Okay. So as you can see from here, the base of the mobile vacuum lifter, you can see that it's actually designed such a way that it's like a pallet. So you can actually move it around to any part of the warehouse that we want to, and because it's battery powered as well, so we can move it to any part of the warehouse and use it, even if there's no power socket over there. So this is something that we've designed internally, including some of the fixtures that we've seen over here. These attachments here, this is for tote boxes. So this attachment is for tote boxes. This is for big cartons, and this is for big tins like this. All right. So this is how we do this. What is what I call a vacuum lifter. All right. So the next thing that maybe you can see over here, a better view here. You can see over here, the racking behind me. This is 45. This is what we call an ASRS. All right, it's a mini load ASRS. The length of this whole racking itself is about 60 meters, rising up about 21 levels. So we have two sets of this, and 21 levels, 60 meters. We can store around about 20,000 bins, 20,000 tote boxes that we can store inside here. All right, so I'll explain a bit how it works. So that's just the racking. With the racking, what we need to store and retrieve, and this is the shuttle that we have developed. All right, so this is actually a shuttle that can store and retrieve bins like this, up to a weight of about 25 kilos. And the arms actually stretch forward and backwards, and so you can actually do double deep storage. So double deep storage means actually you save even more space. All right, let me show how it works. So we have prepared a simple demonstration here, so it's easier to view how it works. Right, basically, so this is a picking station. So the goods are being, now there's two major functions really of this whole system. Storing goods. So this is what happens. We put the products into the bin and we just store it into the system. So it goes into the system. And what you can see here, the barcode scanning is done. So the system knows exactly what product is inside the bin. Once it knows what is it, we will bring it to the level of the racking. Okay, there's a assigned location for it. So there's an algorithm to determine where to put the products. So once it goes up, the shuttle will then retrieve the bin. So you can see that it's retrieving, and then it brings it all the way back into the racking. All right, so the retrieval is just the reverse. The shuttle will pick the bin, bring it up, and the lifter will actually going to bring the product down to the main conveyor. Okay, so this is how it works. So you bring it down, and it will come out all the way out here to the picker. All right, so this is what we call automated storage retrieval. So there's no need to actually walk to the product and pick the goods. The goods actually come to the picker. So this concept is called, instead of man to goods, this is goods to man. All right, so that's for the storage. So on the picking side, what we have here is a tablet app that will guide the picker what products to pick. What's the quantity to pick. So basically what he do is that he will just prompt the picker, okay, this is the product to pick. And it will show you which location to put it in there, and then you just press the button and it's done. All right. So with this picking system, it basically shows us that we can actually optimize picking, not just the storage and retrieval, but also picking multiple orders. With two picking stations like this, we can pick 96 orders at any one time. Okay, so that's how we actually make our operations more efficient. Okay. So next, let me move over to fleet management. So we have about 100 trucks or so. All right, and to give us a better appreciation of our operations, our truck utilization, we are using a car track fleet management. So basically, this is a screenshot. All right, obviously we are monitoring it live, but I'm not showing you a live one now. Okay, this is a screenshot of a typical day in our operations. So you can see that our trucks are all over Singapore. And so the advantage of this system is such that it gives us real-time tracking. And one of the very key important feature of this is actually a temperature monitoring. So it's a remote temperature monitoring for us, where some of our trucks are actually temperature controlled. And because we have temperature sensitive food products, so it's very closely. All right. And okay, so there are certain settings that actually we can set for every vehicle. So every vehicle, for example, we can set the geofencing. Geofencing as in, if a vehicle is being allocated a certain route for security reasons or certain area that he can only go to, this can be set into the system. Or that we can also, and we can also do some settings like, for example, if there's a certain speeding, there's certain harsh acceleration or braking, there will be alert that are being sent to our operation managers. So with all this, we actually are able to manage our system more effectively, our whole fleet more effectively. And whether you are managing 100 trucks or 200 trucks, the work is more or less similar. So you're actually managing by exceptions and not calling each driver and asking him where he is. All right. So actually early in the morning, okay, the biggest action in the whole Lim Sang Huat is actually in the loading bay. Okay, because after all the orders comes in, orders are picked, whether it's cotton picking or loose picking, what we need to do right now is to get the trucks, get all the products out here, get it loaded onto the trucks, and get it sent out to the customers. So this is the most critical part, and that's the busiest time for us in Lim Sang Huat here. So it's about almost 9:30 right now. So most of the trucks are actually all loaded up. Okay, there's still some products waiting to be loaded. And so that is what a typical morning in Lim Sang Huat will look like. All right. So I hope you enjoy the short tour today, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Mr. Lim, for the very insightful sharing. Now, before we invite questions from the floor, let us next invite Mr. John Ng from Eastport Maritime Private Limited to bring us on a slightly different learning journey to better understand how ship brokering businesses work. Mr. Ng, please.
Good morning, I'm John Ng, the Senior Executive Director of Eastport Maritime Singapore. I was previously the Managing Director before passing on the baton last year. I have spent more than half my career in the maritime industry as a broker. Ship brokerage is viewed as an old and traditional industry involving many manual and repetitive tasks. After stepping down as the Managing Director, one of my current jobs is to get how we can use digitalization to transform our current way of operation into a more efficient and effective operation. "41 years ago, in 1980, two industrial veterans set up Eastport Maritime. With a clear vision ahead, our founder Lawrence Tan and Matthias Che built Eastport Maritime from a humble beginning of 5 to 6 staff to a strength of 160 people today, including 6 overseas officers across the major shipping hubs worldwide. We specialize in helping our customers meeting their shipping requirements, and this involves the transportation of petrochemical, petroleum, gases, vegetable oil, and general cargoes. Besides, we are also involved in new building projects and sales and purchase of vessels. Come with me and I'll show you our new renovated office. One of the disadvantages to manual work processes, as you can imagine, are the huge number of documents lying on the staff desk. In the past, we had many cupboards storing working files and old documents. Today, we are moving towards going paperless. Our documents and data are stored in the cloud, and staff can retrieve documents readily even when they are not in the office. Technology allows us to fill up space for other purposes, and we are also playing a small part in achieving environmental goals. Our first stop is our research and strategy department. Our analysts produce regular market reports which cover the activities of the major shipping lane across different sectors of our business area. This report are part of our value-added services to our customers. The analysts are using substantial shipping data, which is mostly proprietary, to generate their report. Housing this data in a strong cybersecurity network protected our data as well as our customer interests. We also subscribe to third-party intelligence to supplement our in-house data and analyze the impact of the macro environment on the shipment. Using technology to help us gain access to the timely data enable us to produce insightful reports to help our customer in making their decisions. Let's move over to the ship brokerage and see the broker in action. This is a shipbroker department. In a year, we typically handle thousands of shipments, and most of them consist of different types of cargo, loading and discharging at different destinations. For such a complex operation, we need a reliable platform to manage our flow of shipment activities from the broker department to other divisions. Subscribing to a CRM solution with customizable module while integrating different applications to address our business needs has enabled us to build customer-centric module and add intelligence to derive better service for our clients. Our last stop is with the operation and claim teams. The operation and claim team department, which the industrial coin as Fisher team, takes over the monitoring of shipment performance after the broker completed a deal. We all know that after-sales service is extremely important to attain a client trust and support, and it's no different in the ship brokerage sector as well. The broker and Fisher team work closely hand to hand to ensure our clients' needs are attended to and addressed timely. While brokers focus on freight optimization, the Fisher team ensures smooth shipment operation and coordinates closely with customers and their stakeholders to tackle logistic challenges that impact the loading and discharging operation in ports. Each key member of the Fisher team has to take charge of several shipments at one go, and the amount of data entry for each shipment is very significant. Besides the importance of having a centralized location for the team to input the information, the performance has to allow for easy retrievable and report generation. We are currently exploring dashboard development in our platform to enable visualization of our shipment KPI. Besides monitoring shipment performance, the team is also able to detect anomaly in the existing data entry, which can be timely identified and corrected. Our platform has managed to meet some of this requirement, and now we are working with vendors to improve it further so as to enhance our Fisher process and create a smoother and more efficient workflow. I recall last year, 2 months before our government announced a lockdown to control the spread of COVID-19, Eastport came out with a contingency plan in case we had to work from home. Thanks to the available cloud solution, we were able to transit our staff and work processes for remote working beforehand and not get caught off guard when the lockdown was implemented. In the process of preparing our staff to work from home, we educated them on the importance of the mindset change. From taking a traditional approach to embrace new way of working by adoption of technology. For example, we start to use online communication tools to conduct regular meetings and to ensure we still can connect virtually with our colleagues and clients during this period, whereby we lack the physical interaction that we all have been familiar with. At the end of the day, it is about utilizing the benefit gained from deploying new technology and creating new working environment whereby Eastport can continue to deliver prompt and effective services to our clients. Flexible working arrangement will continue for us post-COVID, as we view this as one of the ways to create a supportive work environment that can enable esports to attract, motivate, and retain valued staff. Digitalization has made smart working possible for us in an agile workforce. Going forward, becoming a digital native enterprise is a top priority for most organizations, and esports is no exception to this. Being a digital native enterprise can help us to scale our business and innovate in areas that will help the company fuel more efficient operations, new revenue stream, and build customer loyalty. The positive impact will be much more compared to operating in the traditional fashion. However, there are no prescribed templates to guide us in achieving the goal of becoming a digital native enterprise. In a ship brokerage company, our staff is our biggest asset. If they face challenges in the process of digitalization, we are responsible for reskilling them and upskilling them. We will leave no man behind and ensure relevant training is provided to help them embrace this change. With 65% of our workforce make up of younger employees in the 20 to 30 age group who are digitally savvy, we are confident of achieving our vision. We hope you have enjoyed learning about the esports digitalization journey today. It has been a pleasure showing you around. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ng. Now, may I kindly request for all the panelists and moderator to please turn on your video cameras and unmute your mics. Participants who wish to ask questions to our panelists, please type out your questions in full in the Q&A function on the Zoom screen. We will address them if time permits. Thank you. This panel discussion once again will be moderated by Mr. Law Chong Ming. Over to you, Mr. Law, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Chung Ming, Executive Director for Transport and Logistics at Enterprise Singapore, and I will be your moderator for today's panel discussion. Well, there seems to be a technical issue. Okay, I think we resolved it. Thank you. Well, let me first introduce our distinguished panelists for today. First, we have Mr. Jack Lim, Chief Executive Officer of Lim Siang Huat. Next, we have Mr. John Ng, Senior Executive Director of Eastport Maritime. Then we have Mr. Ricky Lu, Deputy President of the Container Depot and Logistics Association of Singapore. And Mr. Teo Teng Seng, Chairman of the Digital Transformation Committee of the Singapore Shipping Association. Welcome to all our distinguished panelists. And of course, a very warm welcome to all our participants today. Now, I hope you enjoyed the two videos. I certainly did. Circling back to the two learning journeys at Lim Siang Huat and Eastport Maritime, I believe most of us will have observed how digital tools can actually enhance the way we manage our businesses by reducing paperwork, streamlining cumbersome processes, and even removing the need for manual intervention. But that's not all. We have seen how digital technology can be leveraged to sell goods and better meet customer demands, which are actually increasing every day. Now, digitalization has been a hot topic for many of us for many years now, but especially after the outbreak of the COVID-19, it has gained lots of traction. We do know that many companies still choose to rely on traditional and mundane ways of operating their businesses. But we can see that Lim Siang Huat and Eastport are some of the more progressive companies that have chosen to do otherwise. Let's hear what they have to share from their experience in embarking on their digitalization journeys. First, question for Jack. Now, it was live streaming. Thank you very much. It's a very busy morning at Lim Siang Huat, and you have shown us many digital tools that you have deployed to help you in the day-to-day operations. Now, in terms of digitalization, what is your honest view of Lim Xiang Huat's progress, or maybe in terms of where you stand in terms of digitalization from Lim Xiang Huat's point of view, compared to your business competitors? Over to you, Jack.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chong Ming, for the question. Actually, this question probably have to, I really don't see people in the industry as competitors, firstly. I really see all of us as actually players or contributing to the segment that we are in, the industry that we are in. So we really, I think, we really see digitalization really as a journey, right? Okay, as you know, that I'm actually the third generation of the company. Actually, the company was started by my grandfather, but actually the digitalization journey actually started much earlier. In the 80s, actually, when I was still a teenager, I visited the Lim Xiang Huat at the time. It was still a small grocery store at Changi, and there was already green computer monitors there already, 1980s, and we are already using it to do invoicing. Of course, it's not a full ERP system at that time, but we were already using it for doing invoicing and then accounting software. So and of course, along the way, we started changing certain systems, and finally we started with Oracle ERP. So I think it's just a journey, and to us, it's never a destination really. Or of course, it can be a competitive edge if you're able to leverage it well. And I think one of the nearer, I would say earlier examples that you see on the video is actually our online store. We actually started that 5 years ago. All right, it was challenging for us in a sense that nobody know because it's a B2B site. So what we wanted to do was to get people to order online, and it was definitely not easy. There's no pandemic; people can go around, to order. Why do I need to order online? So it took us a challenge to actually convert people online. We actually got one of our staff, salesperson, to actually go around telling customers to order online. Now we know her title should be called digital ambassador. 5 years ago, we didn't have this term. Yeah, so it's I think it's really just a journey, and sometimes it's not clear actually what we want to do sometimes, because it's especially when you are, I would say, quite forefront in the industry to adopt certain technologies, and there isn't much reference you can get from. So you just have to sometimes just try and then see how the market responds. Sometimes it could be the market.
Let's say we don't compare to your competitor. In your own view, out of 1 to 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you stand today?
I think I would say maybe 8.
Wow, that's great. I just received a comment from one of the participants that the vacuum lifter is very interesting.
You can buy for me. You can buy for me. It's for sale. It's something that we
way to market.
It's something that we develop on internally, actually, just to help our people, and also in a sense that our workers are also aging, right? And so although the demonstrator just now doesn't need that system, he can just carry it, but one day it's gonna get older, And carrying 2 bags and carrying 1 whole pallet or 100 bags is different.
Another interesting question that came up is that, a lot of, like you said, right, sometimes you don't know where exactly you are and what exactly is ahead and all this. So does that give an issue about what you guys in the business call ROI? So why would people want to invest in digitalization if there's no clear quantifiable ROI? I mean, how do you tackle that issue?
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, frankly, we ourselves also have to struggle with this question sometimes. It's for our kind of business, I mean, we are not a very high margin kind of business, definitely. So obviously we need to really count our investment, and to make sure that actually every dollar that we spend in our automation or technology really give us the kind of return that we want. Okay. I would my advice is really for companies that if you are stuck there, okay, it's good to have some financial discipline, really. Not to buy anything, the latest technology, and not considering whether how useful it is for your company. But at the same time, I think it's important to go beyond that. So if you come across a technology, if it doesn't work, okay, fine. Then ask yourself, what's next? Is there an alternative technology, a cheaper technology? And a lot of times right now, there are a lot of options in the market, especially digital technologies. There's a lot of solutions that could be, let's say, a pay as you use, or a software as a service kind of solutions. Or you can even negotiate or talk to the vendor. Hey, can I do a trial, for example? So sometimes it's not just the ROI, but also to build the confidence in our people. When we're not so sure how this thing is going to work, is this suitable for my business, for my processes, for my workflow, then you can just try it out. And I think important to really not just stop there when the ROI give us a roadblock, but explore what else can we do.
Thanks, Jack. Now moving on to John. Maritime sector, just like logistics, has been around for thousands of years, right? Yes. Since humans need to move things, right? And boats have been, I don't know, at least 5,000 years maybe. Yeah. So we all know that the maritime industry has a very distinguished traditions, right? There's a lot of traditions, and some people say that, yeah, tradition means traditional, right? So, and we also understand that there's still a lot of reliance on paper-based type of documentation, right? But today, I think the landscape is fast evolving, and things are, and there are a lot of adoption of technology. Like what Jack says, there's also a ton of technology solutions out there, right? I'm sure. Now, so the question is, you are a shipbroker, right? In this age of technology advances and all these new digital platforms that are coming out, do you feel that your role has been challenged as a shipbroker? And if it's challenged and you feel that it's challenged, actually, what are you doing about it? How are you leveraging digitalization to do something about it? Over to you, John.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Law. Yes, in the landscape of digitized maritime environment currently now, I mean, for me or for eSport Maritime, we do see that there are certain challenges is putting upon us. One of the very significant part is you look at our customer. Our customer actually, especially during this period of the COVID-19, and in fact, you look at the supply chain in the logistics, especially in the shipping freight. We have gone through the US-China trade war, okay, and we also gone through now, or having now, we are going through this COVID-19. And actually, all these are disrupting the supply chain, what we call logistic. And we look at it, are we able to still follow what we have been doing it currently? For example, still depend on very much on the paperwork. And all we have to actually take a step to look into it. Can we actually, looking in our business or branding, to look at, can we change it? Okay. Our customer, some of our customers are actually looking on how to basically improve their work efficiency, how to optimize their freight solution, how to basically putting their product become more competitive in their marketplace. All this, frankly speaking, they need to have a lot of data. And one of the data they need actually the shipping data, because shipping data is a logistic data that is actually command a portion of the portion of the product cost. So they actually in the process of building up digitalization platform. And for us as a service provider on that shipping route, we actually have to look into ourselves saying that can we do it? Can we provide them a service? It just depends on our manual way of working, which I think is challenging because it's not possible. Because when you have all the data coming in, and they are huge data, they are actually past data and current data. In fact, you may have to produce the future data. If you just depend on what paper documentation, there's no way I think we can execute the kind of value service. So the only way is we are looking into digitalization. And in fact, for eSport Maritime, we started our digitalization actually about 25 years ago, but it's a very small scale. At that time, actually, there's no such thing about digitalization in the market. So we had this small platform, what I call capture our human activities. But of course, we did not actually go further to enhance it because at that time, digitalization is not so anything, And we also try our best to actually develop our platform for 2 occasions, but unfortunately, we did not success. Therefore, we come to a conclusion saying that we need to have a third-party platform. And now we are using a third-party platform, and we actually optimize it to basically put into our usage. And
The challenge is because we changed the working models of branding from manual to digital way. So the challenge is we have to basically educate our staff, educate them saying that digitalization is something helping them to improve their work efficiency, their productivities. If they are improving their work efficiency and productivities, actually it's helping the company to achieve productivities. And hopefully the company will basically have additional revenue, and it's good for them.
So John, today, right, I like the part you mentioned about the staff. Are you experiencing a lot of resistance or inertia from the staff as you embark on this digitalization journey?
I mean, as SME, you know, because SME, for example, like we have been doing this kind of job for 30, 40 years, okay? Everybody are using paper, and of course, we have some kind of digitalization going on. Yes, we do encounter some kind of challenges by the staff, okay? Because staff is always have this mindset saying, hey, I've been doing this now, okay? And now this job actually is supposed to do it by other department, but now I have to do the other department job. But this is a challenge, but I look at it, the staff have to be very well educated, and the staff must understand saying that the work process is actually, the whole company work process is not individual work process. Digitalization is helping us to solve all this process. So there may be some kind of disadvantage that you may have to do certain part of job for other department because of some requirement. So don't take it that it is an additional work to you. And so the challenge is how we're going to educate them. I think the process is very important because it must come from the top.
Thanks.
The top must believe that certain changes must take place. And the intermediate manager must also believe that all the process taking place are good for their department work processes. At the end of the day, achieve a better work efficiency, a better result. And in fact, if you can use digitalization to actually doing most of the job, hopefully, actually you can also try a very good, work-life balance.
That's true. Thanks, John. Yeah, so I think from what we have heard from Jack and yourself, I think digitalization is not so fearful. We can always start small. You know, there's a wide range of tools, solutions already out there. The key is to select the one that's suitable for you. And then, of course, it did not be expensive because there's also pay-per-use, pay as a service, and so on and so on. So there are a variety of business models that's available, right? And I think we spoke about, the employee engagement, the staff engagement, and also the leadership of the management and the owners must be there to drive the digitalization. And I think with COVID-19, there's no better time than to really put a lot of effort on this. So thank you very much to John and Jack. Let's move on. Now, Ricky, let us congratulate you on your recent feature in the September 2021 issue of the CEO magazine. Congrats. So as the Deputy President of CDAS and the CEO of CWT Integrated, you have played a very significant and important role in transforming not just the company, but also the industry through various digitalization and transformation initiatives. So we are very impressed. Now, Ricky, digitalization is a very common topic, right? But we still see a lot of confusion, or maybe different people define differently. As a champion of digitalization in your sector, what advice or suggestion will you give to those that are really thinking about it, but are still scared or don't know how to proceed on their first step? Over to you, Ricky.
So first and foremost, actually digitalization is not so fearful. I've been doing CDAS per se been doing digitalization since 2007. The old days where we have pager, we already installed a pager in the truck to make a truck smart at that time. So you can see around all the logo that I have around. CDAS been doing a lot of digitalization process. We have a CMS platform, we have ECTS, CTR, and things like that. So in a very simple way, I explain digitalization and the process. I always use this one simple example, the evolution of vacuum cleaner. Okay, so why evolution of vacuum cleaner? Say 20 years back ago, when you are trying to sweep a floor, using a broom and a dustpan, will anyone believe you that around this running on the floor, like automated robotic vacuum cleaner will do your job? Nobody believed. So what happened to the evolution of the vacuum cleaner? Somebody designed a vacuum cleaner like a broom, a long stick, somebody still holding it, to let people now understand the process of vacuuming is better than sweeping. So after 10, 20, maybe more than 10 years, maybe 20, then people get the hang of the vacuuming. Nobody starts sweeping. People feel that vacuuming effect is better. Then you introduce again a new method, telling people that, hey, actually you don't hold a vacuum cleaner. A vacuum cleaner can run by itself, robotic vacuum cleaner. And you stand and manage the place and make sure the place is clean. So digitalization process, in short, I always want to let people know that is to allow people to have a bite-sized information. At the point of time where you're trying to sweep the floor, you tell people that this thing running around will do your job. People get stuck to be fearful, saying that you're taking away my job. But actually it's not. What happened to evolution of this vacuum cleaner? You hold the same stick like a broom, but you use a vacuuming effect. So you actually created and introduced a technology to allow people bite-size to understand the technology before you move on again to robotic. So same thing as CDAS per se, this is what we do. We started off with a pager, putting it in the truck. Then we created a platform in CMS where everybody starts to link to each other. Then we upgrade the pager, become using a smart device in 2016 called the ECTS, where you start to use a tablet using geofencing, Google Map, and things like that to start planning and routing. And then subsequently, we also come into e-payment and things like that. So we take digitalization in bite size. So by doing so, people get absorbed into the technology at a point of time in a bite-sized manner. They are able to accept and acknowledge these new changes to them, and at the same time, they are still there doing the same thing or slightly more productive and more techy through that. So I believe digitalization is a process that we really have to go along with the staff, going along with the company to move along together, especially at Logistic per se. Logistic is not silo, not selling a product, then we end there. It's about an ecosystem, it's about community. So when we say community, we cannot have a system where it's just strictly good for single user or single company or single stakeholder. Logistic ecosystem is big. There's many stakeholders. We have a port, we have a depot, we got a factory, we got a trucks, transportation and all that. So every one of them must come into a same ecosystem in a platform per se, in a community where everybody helping each other can communicate, then this thing will work. So I believe in digitalization is a process, it's a journey, like what Jack and also John had mentioned that. I fully agree on that. It's a journey, and we really want, as an association per se, usually what we do is that when company come to us, and we know that a lot of company couldn't have like a CIO or even an IT department. So what association do is that we collate all the information, we create the solution, and we spearhead with the solution, we pilot the solution, then introduce the company. At the same time, we not only just give them the solution, we train their staff, and also from there, plug on to the rest of the stakeholder, then they feel comfortable and we work together as a community. This is how things will work better if everybody come as a community.
Thanks, Ricky. Thanks. Yeah, I think you have really shared with us some of the concrete measures that CDAS have undertaken to help your members to onboard, reduce the barriers to digitalization, and really make them uplift themselves. Thank you very much, Ricky. Now, for Singapore, as you know, we started more than 200 years ago as a trade port. So Singapore, the economic growth has always been very strongly tied to our port, as well as to our connectivity to the world. So moving on to TS, you know, as the chairman of the Singapore Shipping Association Digital Transformation Committee, I would like to pose him a few questions from the floor. You know, TS, SMEs oversighted firefighting, a lot of operational issues, and they cannot find the kind of HR people that they need. So they said, I have no time, I have no people to do digitalization. Now, what are your views on that? And how would SSA go about helping them to solve some of these challenges? Over to you, TS.
All right, thank you. Okay, SMEs in the first place, I think is quite wide. It ranges from 1 to 100 man team, right? But I think those with issue of lack of resources are more of those that are probably 20, 30, even 40 man team. In fact, just like what Ricky said, that a lot of them don't have an IT resource. So in fact, I spoke to SME lately, and they were looking for one IT resource, and it was a 30-man team, relatively small company, and it will cost them 6,000 Singapore dollars a month. And even so, they can't find anyone, right? So lack of resources and firefighting is a reality in the smaller SMEs. And I think COVID has even driven this even harder. So in COVID, if you notice, you either end up to be doing very well, or you end up to suffer. And a lot of them are still suffering today. So from SSA point of view, we see there's a dilemma in terms of the need to digitalize and the lack of resources. So what as an association we do, but in fact my committee used to be under the technical committee, but in 2019, mid-2019, we established the digital transformation committee. So we looked at the whole issue. We see that there are a lot of government so-called agencies that are promoting digitalization, and certain programs are targeted at the maritime industry. But we have this saying that the cow is not coming to the water. For many reasons. For reasons they are too busy firefighting, or some tauke in SME, they really know they're really good at what they do, but sometimes beyond that, they are not so well informed. So they are always doing what they do in the same way. So what we decided to do is to strengthen our collaboration with the government agencies. In this case, of course, ESG, and we have IMDA, MPA. I call them the three musketeers because they have, in Chinese say, 有人有钱有力, right? You have you have the resources, you have the money, and the right policies. So we come in as a practitioner, collaborating with the government agencies to come up with a holistic approach and taking SMEs in a very personal way. So each SMEs we so-called manage to get them to come to the water, to be interested in what we can offer is a project. So every SME is very important to us. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Thank you, TS. I think you mentioned the hot topic of the day, which is COVID. So I think beyond all these challenges we talk about, our SMEs face, we are still dealing with the effects of the COVID pandemic. And I think since the initial outbreak about 2 years ago, things are still very fluid, right? The economy is still recovering. We are prepared. We are reopening, and so on and so on. So there's no doubt that the pandemic has hit our companies harder. Some has been forced to reduce operation. Some even has been forced into some form of closure. And this has affected quite a bit of companies. But we also heard a lot about how digitalization are also enabling the companies to tide over this difficult period. And we are definitely moving towards a much more globalized and digitalized economy. So maybe coming back to Jack again, I'm not sure how you guys are faring during the pandemic. You may want to share a little bit about that. And in your view, for a logistics company, is the pandemic an excuse or a good reason for them to really move faster or even stronger into digitalization journey? Over to you, Jack.
Okay. I think good question. I will not dwell into the impact on us because I think you have seen the introduction. We actually serve a very diverse customer base. Obviously, like what Chong Ming said, some of them are badly hit. Our airline industries, our hotels, they're badly hit. But there are also the certain customers, let's say especially in the retail side, where they are doing exceptionally well. All right, and you know who I'm talking about. So it's I think for us, it actually impacted us in many ways, whether it's in sales or in our operations, in our manpower challenges, in our supply chain disruption. Shipping has been quite badly affected as well. But I think in terms of digitalization, I think is really the way to go. There's really no way around this. All right. And I think one of the best things that actually happened, okay, we didn't want pandemic, of course, but one of the best things that we actually can leverage on our system is that when the pandemic hit, some of our customers are badly affected. So there are certain products that are suitable for that segment of customers. We were able to quickly identify these products and see how we can divert some of these products to another segment. And we couldn't do this if we are still in a manual operation, trying to go through paper and trying to figure out. So everything is all digitalized. We can actually generate certain reports and dashboards, for example, and we can quickly manage our inventory. All right, or for example, we can even see whether if because of shipment delays, are we going to be short of certain products? So I think there's really no excuse not to. In fact, I'm not. It's I think the wave was changed. I think it's even more apparent now than, let's say, 5 years ago. When 5 years ago, when we were talking about digital transformation, we were actually disrupting ourselves. Disrupting as in having our own B2B online store. That was probably the first at the time. But I think it's really how we as a company leverage. There's no way we can avoid whatever is happening externally, but we can see how we can position the company, our infrastructure, our people, our mindset to overcome the challenges and make the best use of whatever we have.
Thanks, Jack. John, back to you again.
Yep.
So for the maritime sector, has COVID hit you guys? I was told that the maritime sector is making good money now, and I think it has never been better for the last 10 years or something like that, right? And so at this stage in time, would people still pay attention to digitalization since they are all busy making money?
Unfortunately, I'm not in those container line and so on where the container freight is now sky high. I'm actually doing the last part of the so-called the last part of the shipment, where we move from load to discharge port. And we basically involve very much on transporting the raw material from Middle East to China to India, or from Southeast Asia, palm oil into China or India. Okay. Of course, when the COVID-19 last year started, actually we don't see actually very much of disruption on our side. I mean, business as per usual and so on. The only thing what we see is our customer is now asking more information because their business is being affected. Or like I said just now, is they want to see how can they optimize. Freight become a very important factor. Delivery of cargo on time is also a very important factor to them. And they demand us as a service provider, how can you help me to solve all this problem? You cannot just doing a job that I give you a cargo from A to B and then you get the ship, you get the freight and fix it. I want you to do more than that. So this is actually what's happening now in my market, and I believe that all my other ship brokerage shop, I believe they're also facing same kind of challenges. So I always think about if we don't do the digitization, or we think that we still go on to the old way of doing things, can we survive? Esport has been in the shipping industry, the ship brokerage industry, for almost about 41 years, going to 42 years. And if we just continue, can we survive? Or if we use digitization, can we be much better? And my conclusion on myself is, yes, we have to go on digitization because when you are helping the customer to basically, let's say, forecast the freight trend, forecast of their business requirement, forecast the timely arriving on the port, recharge it without any issue. You actually need to capture a lot of data. You actually capture a lot of shipment information. And you need to have a platform, which is definitely going to be the digital platform, to handle all this huge data and huge information so that you can get the result that your customer wants. And therefore, I feel that digitization is definitely a way to go, because if we don't do digitization, I think we still can survive. But the question is, how long can we survive? And this is something that SME or people in my industry have to ask themselves that question. And I feel that starting of digitization is actually not so painful in certain way, you know. But what I worry is because a lot of SME, especially those people like my kind of job, because of work from home requirement, they actually move everything to the cloud and can work from home more efficiently. They can still serve a customer more effectively. But the problem is, these are the short-term requirement. In the long-term requirement is, you have to look at, actually the marketplace is changing. Your customer demanding more information. And as I say, if you just want to fix a cargo from A to B, get the freight and done it, which I think that in the next few years, I think it will be challenging for ship brokerage industry. I think we will go beyond that. And go beyond that, definitely need digitalizations to help us. How can we process our work more efficiently? How can we provide a better services to our customers?
Thank you. So you mentioned some keywords. I think talking about survival.
Yeah.
So these are very, very important consideration. You are not talking about making money or losing money. You are talking about a very fundamental thing, right?
Yeah.
Existence. Thank you, Jack and John, for sharing your thoughts. Now, we all know that our trade association and industry chambers are very important stakeholders in the entire economy. The government works closely with them. The member companies also work very closely with them. So they also play a very important role in helping their member companies during disruptions, during crises, and of course, in the COVID pandemic. Now, so to Ricky, how has SIDAS been helping your members in this COVID pandemic, especially to minimize or to help them overcome disruption, continue to help them to move on the digitalization journey and so on? Maybe you can share some of your latest measures in helping your member companies. Over to you, Ricky.
Yeah, sure. So it's a good thing that digitalization is in the blood. We started since 2007. Every now and then, bite-sized new solutions came out, and we already created an ecosystem in 2013. And we make the truck smart in 2016. So whatever in the ecosystem, the main stakeholder, somehow or another is already connected. And the best part is, actually, we launched our e-payment at the start of the pandemic in February before the CB lockdown. And we have a major event just before the lockdown. So previously, when we used to do a lot of initiative, it's always people try not to have eye contact, don't know who is going to do first. So try not to be the first one. And because of this pandemic, everybody says, me. When is the e-payment is coming? So because we are somehow connected, the last part of the journey or the skill up is that documentation already linked together. We can already communicate through the cloud and things like that. The important thing is how you collect your money and how you're going to pay the detention, demurrage, and all the charges that's required. So at the start of pandemic, we actually introduced the e-payment, and which was quickly adopted and plugged into the system. So actually, we formed the total loop itself, be it from the process flow itself, operational flow, now even the financial flow is inside there as well. So everything, the e-payment is inside. We settle all the required charges and invoices, receipt also fly through the cloud, give to the various stakeholders. So actually, pandemic somehow also helped and also make people understand the importance of digitalization. If we were not have taken the journey back then, at the heat of the pandemic, you just imagine logistics is an essential trade. how we going to do business, work from home? Can you drive a truck from home?
No.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Can you do collect a container from home? Inspect a container from home? There's no way. So we've been doing all these different solutions, and somehow this pandemic actually proved one thing for sure, that we have done and we are go to the right journey itself. And we close up with the e-payment. In fact, the TCC just mentioned that we actually go into the next phase of automation. We already design or come out with automated inspection per container. So next time, our inspector really can work from home, because they just need a screen, they can inspect from home. And actually, we also have many other things that's coming out, robotic repairs and things like that. And just also a lot of automation is doing in place. Just back in my company itself, we design an automated container depot. First in the world, fully automated within the building itself. So next time, my staff or future container logistic player can actually work from home, having all the container movement controlling from remote places, having inspection from remote places, having repair and maintenance from remote places. This is definitely doable and can be done. And CDAS is actually going into this journey of new phase of upgrading. That I always share that CDAS always do things bite size. So one at a time, you introduce people. When they understand what this is about, we move on to another and we scale up. And as we scale up, people are not displaced. People are being trained along to the new technology and the new way of doing things itself. So we don't displace people, but we train people. These people end up become slightly more skillful and do things better and more productive. Ultimately, whatever the company spend within the solution and things like that will be payback in terms of productivity and the way this digitalization will definitely help everyone.
Yeah. Fantastic, Ricky. Great leadership from CDAS. Thank you. So over to TS. What can you share some of the things that SSA is currently doing to help your member companies?
Yes, we recently launched a program. So this is a holistic program, but in fact, it actually kind of started in bits and pieces. So it started as a tech and demo day before COVID. And that was to allow our members to have a physical networking with very specific topics. Then COVID came, right? So we added the virtual portion, and later on we started looking into how we can better help companies to digitalize. So, and of course, there's the issue of sustainability, which is very important. So we came out, of course, also with the thanks to ESG, has also helped us to come up with a program that's called DVSP, Digital Vision Sustainability Program. So it's a holistic program where we go on the virtual and the in-person. Fortunately, we had 2 in-person events this year. Okay, there was a very narrow window. We managed to get approval. So we had one earlier this year, one that just ended about a month or so ago. And at the same time, we are very focused on adoption of technology. So we have the virtual and in-person to sort of engage the companies, because companies, especially the owners, they know, they hear about digitalization, but they think they want to do it, but a lot of time they just put it aside next year, or some companies tell me they're so busy, they even have the plan, but they just have no discipline to execute. So for various reasons, we want to engage and understand their pain points, and then to adapt the technology. Previously, what we do was that we would promote digitalization. We would tell them, there's subsidies from ESG, how MPA can assist. What we have turned the table around is that we will come in, engage them in a more personal way to understand their pain points, and then with them implement digital initiatives so they can start the journey. Because as everyone said, it is a journey, and it can be quite a long journey, stepwise. So with the holistic program, we want to get them onto the journey. And even after the implementation of the first initiative, we will want to then create a lot of network or alumni of these SMEs, so we can continue to be in touch with them and work with them along this journey.
Thanks. Yes, I think we can see that our trade association, as exemplified by CDAS and SSA, are not sitting still. In fact, they are putting in more efforts to do more things, and we are very encouraged. And I hope all member companies will also support the association's programs, so everybody can benefit together as an ecosystem. Thank you very much. Now, we know that COVID-19 has caused a lot of disruption, and a lot of companies are paying a lot of attention to issues such as resilience, digitalization, and so on. And I think it's important to note that COVID-19 may not be the last disruption that all of us are going to face. I mean, you never know what's going to come next, right? But at the same time, we should not be discouraged or feel depressed or whatever. In fact, we should see that things will be moving to a new normal where there are a lot of emphasis on resilience, digitalization, sustainability. So these are all new thematics that have emerged over the recent years that companies are paying a lot of attention to. And as Singapore move, or as the world move from a pandemic to a more new paradigm, how should we prepare ourselves? What are the new opportunities that are available in this new era? So maybe I start again with Jack and John. Interesting, J and J, Jack and John. So for Jack, where would you see the new opportunities and maybe even the game changers that are coming up in the logistics industry? Over to you, Jack.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's I think you rightfully said something about this pandemic, and it definitely won't be the last one. And I think going forward, I think for one of the reasons why I say just now that I don't see other industry players within my industry as competitors is because we are all industry players. And if everybody actually adopt more automation, more technologies, more digitalized, we can actually do more collaboration. Because if you don't have data, there's no way we can collaborate. I mean, between companies, there's no way we can say, hey, how can I share resources? I have some spare capacity in my fleet. You need some access, you need some support. We can do some collaboration. In fact, we have done this collaborations once with SETS before, and because that's only possible when both companies have the IT infrastructure. You have the data, you're able to do that. So I hope really that the industry players actually all digitalize as much as they can. Take this opportunity to really digitalize, and we are definitely more well prepared to do more collaboration. And I think the power of digitalization is not one person doing one company doing everything. If we can connect everyone together, I think that's the power, and that's the power as an industry.
So that's the new opportunity, the new growth, and as well as a new game changer that we need to go for.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Thank you, Jack. John, what about you for the maritime sector? I mean, beyond shipbroking, where do you see new growth opportunities, and also what are the possible game changer?
Okay, let's look at maritime industry, like our kind of job. This COVID-19 pandemic will definitely go away. I mean, in time to come. So, okay, of course, the next thing you're going to experience is new normal of daily life in Singapore. You're going to experience a new normal working on the new normal business environment is going on in the market. And one thing which a bit alarmed me is because I look at what happened to US and China going on today. In fact, the Chinese people, some of them are talking about deglobalization, and so the question is even deglobalization. For us, I think there is a good opportunity in deglobalization because we just have to identify where are the product or where are the raw material now going to. We just have to follow about what is those big countries thinking. And this is the big opportunity because the shipping of the supply chain will definitely create a new revenue for export maritime or even for company in this particular what they call shipping industry. And at the same time, look at it, once the shifting of the supply chain, maybe e-sport can actually look at, or even the shipping industry, like the shipper can look at, instead of just doing that last mile, maybe you also can look at it, expand it into inland operation. Okay, this of course is a new kind of challenges. We can even cooperate with company, you know, like we have a lot of company in Singapore who are actually trucking the good from the ports to inland, you know. That could be one thing that we can explore, because we can do some kind of cooperation between them. We move liquid cargo from one point to another point, and we can actually cooperate with them. They can move the liquid cargo from the depot to the customer the destination. Of course, we must show ourselves that we have a lot of data, we have a lot of position, you know, and to facilitate this kind of cooperation. And data facilitation, all these things actually require digitalization. So in a good, I look at it in a very good prospect, you know, we have to very actually keep track of where are the opportunity when the marketplace is changing. And I'm actually quite excited because I look at it, there will be a few marketplaces to change, and that will basically help us to go into certain kind of new revenue stream. And in fact, we are quite lucky. We actually managed to secure some kind of a contract or on the gas part, you know, which I think I can probably say that maybe we are the first company in Singapore to secure such a huge contract, you know, huge contract, who basically transporting gas for the customer into China. And I think everybody can do it if we really have a good frame of mind. Everybody can do it if you really put an effort that we want to do it. We get the digitization going on as part of our business strategy. It can be achieved. And of course, we cannot be a couch potato. We must move on with it. And more important thing is, we don't need to start the digitization on the very big scale. A small scale will do. And of course, when it comes to funding, I mean, they can actually approach, you know, government agency, for example, like Enterprise Singapore. If you have a good plan, I believe the government agency will look into it and helping them to fulfill their dream and vision.
Thanks, John. I think I pick up something very clearly is about the importance and the value of data in the new era and how it will foster collaboration, increase partnership, and also potentially derive new revenue streams. Yes. So this is a question that I want to pose down to Ricky, because as an industry association, Ricky has shared earlier that they have done many projects, many involving data. Yeah, so Ricky, in your view, how did SIDAS overcome all these data sharing, data governance, data confidentiality type of issues? These are very sticky issues, right? Yeah. So how do you overcome it through your projects? What were some of the, in Chinese we call 窍门, or some of the tools or levers that you use to unblock some of these very key obstacles? Ricky, over to you.
Very key important thing is trust. And trust is very important. And data sharing, how SIDAS do it is, when we talk about data sharing, we always respect the contractual relationship of an originator. What I mean by saying that, it's just like a simple way to explain is like a Facebook. You are my friend. When I post something, you can see. So we actually created a few, although it's a big ecosystem, we created a little bit friends kind of circle that you can share information within the stakeholder that is involved in this particular job. So, and being an association, we actually are able to talk to different stakeholders and link up with different stakeholders. Because when you are a company, very different. You are a company to company, you probably can link A company to B. But as an association, we are actually there to serve everyone, every stakeholder in the logistics. So we actually can plug and play to anyone within the stakeholder. And also because of the data governance that we have, that we create this ecosystem mini friend cycle within there, that people believe that this data sharing, the data confidentiality is being kept. And the next thing is that you notice that SIDAS been doing this digitalization since 2007 until today. SIDAS have never become like a company or take over some of the company job to become SIDAS become a trucking company. SIDAS become a factory. CEDA not become a port or a depot. We are very neutral party, and we are there to help. And over the year, people know that we are there to help, we are there to contribute and assist them. The trust will be developed. So we are going after trust. I think trust is very important. Data sharing, data governance is very important. In fact, also CEDA is also involved in the Standard Council. In fact, I'm chairing the Logistic Technical Committee under the Standard Council. We are also coming out a data standard to make sure all the data governance protocol is there so that people can plug and play and link to each other. At the same time, certain security are in place and certain rules are on the ground to ensure that data sharing and things like that will be done in a correct fashion.
But Ricky, I think you have moved even faster, right? For CEDAS, I don't think you are stopping even within your CEDAS membership. No. We understand that you are going to PSA. You have a new project called Smart Booking. You want to talk a bit about that?
Oh, so this is a great thing. So Logistic itself, I think all of us acknowledge that a container logistic, a journey of a container start from a port, right? So you went to the factory and end in the depot. But a journey of a container logistic also start from a depot, went to the factory, ended in a port. So port and depot is the two important stakeholder or node within the logistic. It's a start and stop of a journey. So that's why BSA or the port itself work with us together to create this smart booking. So you just imagine you create the visibility between the port and the depot, the two endpoint or the start point in different journey itself. So the data sharing is there. And when you digitalize both sides, you know that the port already automated to a certain extent. And now the depot also start automation like mine. So it become that the start and the end are very definite. Just like you go Changi Airport, we want to take a plane. You will never need to worry about, oh, my plane don't know when it's going to fly. Know which plane I need to catch, right? So before you hitting a journey to the Changi Airport, you already got a platform, you got a native app to check where's your plane flying, they say a delay and things like that before you make that journey. So you just imagine right now with PSA and depot itself is linked up. The start and the end of the journey are very definite and somehow or another. So within the journey itself, between the journey going to the factory, going to the whichever different logistic node itself, it's easier to be planned, and the routing itself will be easier because we can practically have a smart truck, we can have do geofencing, very easy planning to make sure all the journey itself are being properly networked together and the data sharing is there. So this is really a great move that we've been trying to do. And we are very happy that we can work with PSA, especially right now. The two ends is really meeting together right now. That really help a lot of logistics stakeholders in the country itself.
Yeah, congratulations, Ricky. I mean, it's an excellent initiative to link up different parts of the supply chain digitally, obviously, and by building your already very strong base within CEDAS, you're linking up to other nodes or even other platforms. I think that's excellent. Please continue to do this. Thank you very much. Now, coming back to TS, we know that in the maritime world, there's a lot of talk about sustainability. There's a lot of talk about green shipping, decarbonization, and so on. And we also understand that SSA has recently launched your digital vision and sustainability program to support maritime SMEs. Now, where do you see that confluence between digitalization and sustainability? How are these two closely related in your view? And what would be some of the things that SSA would want to do bringing these two together for your maritime SMEs? Over to you, TS.
I think digitalization and, firstly, they are very important topics as far as the maritime industry is concerned. Globally, there are basically three main issues. First is the crew change, as everyone knows, is a very, very big issue, crew welfare. And then comes sustainability and then digitalization. In my personal view, there is some relationship, but I don't see as the driving force of sustainability. So digitalization will help in terms of monitoring, measurement, and there could be applications where it could help in terms of streamlining process, where carbon is reduced. When we put the program together, it wasn't because there is a link, but it is because both are very important topics. So as far as sustainability, what we are trying to do is to help companies to know where they are in terms of sustainability, and then to know how to go forward. Because knowing where we are, in fact, is the most basic. It's just like, if you don't have a bank balance, how much money you have, you can't plan where to buy a house or to go for holiday. So similarly, we want to help SMEs to know where they are, and they can continue to measure, let's say 2 years from now, 3 years from now, what they need to do. Digitalization, just don't mind, I go a bit further. Digitalization is extremely important. We are obsessed with Singapore being an international maritime center. That is in our mind all the time. And there are 3 components again: crew, sustainability, and digitalization. Apart from the fact that SMEs, to me, will not be able to survive if they are not digitalized, because they cannot connect. You cannot connect, you cannot operate. The other issue I see is that bulk of the maritime industry are SMEs, and bulk of the SMEs customers are not local customers, right? Are the ships that's calling in, are the overseas maritime companies. So it is a facing of Singapore to the international maritime community. So it is also important that our SMEs can be digitalized to meet the standards or to exceed the standards that's required by the international maritime industry.
Great, thanks TS. I think it has been a very interesting discussion from all our experts, panelists, and I think due to time constraint, we will have to put a stop to this for now. But I think we have reached some understanding, in fact, a lot of understanding about digitalization, about sustainability, and about what's going to happen. So we all agree that digitalization is actually a foregone conclusion. You just have to do it, right? I mean, it's becoming a survival issue. It's not just about competitiveness now. It's about survival. It's an existential issue. So that shows how important or how critical it is in everybody's mind, whether you're a manager, you're a leader, you're a CEO, or you're the owner, right? And then I think we are also cognizant that digitalization is not so fearful. I mean, all of you have shared that we start small. Ricky gave the example of bite size, I mean, there are a lot of help available. There are a lot of solutions available. A lot of models are available. So no fear, right? A lot of help out there. And there are all of you out there that are doing so much good stuff to help our SMEs to move along this journey. And then we also talk about data. And you don't have data, you don't get data unless you're connected, right? And once you're connected, the possibilities are immense. You not only can connect within your ecosystem, you not only can connect within your own segment, you can connect to other people. In the case of CDAS connecting the depots to the port, and eventually maybe even to the shipping line, to the logistics company, and so on. And I think Jack talked about connecting to upstream, downstream. John also spoke about connecting to your customers and even linking up to upstream. And I think TS also spoke about how digitalization will also be something that will continue to entrench Singapore as the international maritime center. So we all know this, right? And we all know that we can't do without it, right? So I think to all our participants, we hope that today's discussion from our expert panelists actually have already told you and inspire you that you must embark on your digitalization journey if you have not done so. And you have done so, you really need to look into ways on how to really entrench yourself on that, how to monetize, how to generate new business models, how to transform existing operations. There are a lot of constraints, there are a lot of challenges, we all know that. But again, nothing is impossible, right? There are help out there. From our perspective at ESG, we are committed to help all of you to move along this journey. Our partners, our companies, they are very progressive. Our trade association and industry chambers are all there to assist all of you. So thank you to the panelists for your very insightful and inspiring sharing. And thank you for all the participants for listening in. There are still many questions that are unanswered. We will record all of them down and we will send to the panelists and we will get the response from them and revert back to you. So once again, thank you panelists, thank you participants. It has been an excellent conversation. All the best and have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Law and the panelists for the insightful sharing. But before we end, can we invite them to take a commemorative photo first? Mr. Law? Yep. All right, everybody. Panelists, please look at the camera and smile. 3, 2, 1. All right. I'm sure the photo has been taken. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Law and esteemed panel, for the very insightful dialogue. For the audience in the crowd, please do stay on till the end because we have actually got a very exciting program lined up. So following the discussion by our distinguished guests, I'm sure all of us had learned a lot about how we can all leverage on technology to optimize business operations. So now for our next segment, we will have 4 local companies show us how they have developed homegrown solutions to support the uplifting of our local ecosystem and how they are collaborating with industry players. First, we have a collaboration between CO2X and 10 industry partners. They will be collaborating on the use of CO2X proprietary solution for sustainable fleet management. Second, we have a collaboration between a local startup BotSync and French conglomerate Bolloré Logistics. They will collaborate on the use of BotSync's automation solutions for warehouse management. Third, we have a collaboration between Infolog and Airpack Express, where the 2 parties will collaborate on the use of Infolog's one-stop omni-channel integration platform for e-commerce management. And finally, we have a collaboration between Megafortris and Viatic, where the 2 parties will collaborate on the setup of a new joint venture to drive the commercialization of the next-gen smartbox that Megafortris, Viatic, and MP Online have jointly developed. Let's all move on to watch these collaboration signings.
The transport and logistics industry requires sustainability solutions to help reduce their carbon footprint as government policies and business demands evolve to fight climate change. Developing good environmental, social, and governance strategies now goes hand in hand with building a profitable business. Green financial flows are crucial in helping fleet and logistics operators to meet their targets. However, for the average fleet owner, accessing such finance can seem impossible due to the high cost of accreditation and regulatory complexity. At CO2X, our mission is to help navigate this through an inclusive platform where businesses, technology, and finance meet to drive sustainable change. We do this by leveraging your fleet IoT data, data analytics for advanced fleet and carbon analysis, and blockchain for certification and reporting. Through fuel consumption reduction and establishing better driving behaviors, you can reduce your carbon footprint while we help you to quantify and certify it. Our carbon computation methodology follows international standards and strives to be compliant with the requirements for green financing. Let us help you to take the complexity out of your green journey. Join us today for data-driven sustainable change.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are so excited to bring together such a distinguished group of business and association leaders from the transport and logistics sectors, as well as key leaders of Singapore's premier financial institutions. Today, CO2X and its ecosystem of industry luminaries will sign a MOU to collaborate and explore carbon calculation solutions for the transport and logistics industry. These data-driven solutions can potentially unlock green financial services and help fleets of every size in their sustainability journey. Without further ado, let me introduce the organizations involved in today's momentous event. Mr. Dave Ng, Group CEO of Boxing Logistics. Mr. Ricky Lu, CEO of CWT Integrated. Mr. Mark Wang, CEO of EVFY Singapore. Mr. Pek Chee Kai, Director of Tiong Sing Contractors. Mr. Peter Ho, President of Container Depot and Logistics Association. Mr. O.B. Locke, CEO of Singapore Logistics Association. Ms. Sherry Goh, Chairwoman of Singapore Transport Association. Ms. Perlin Pao, CEO of Aviva Singlife. Mr. Linus Goh, Head, Global Commercial Banking at OCBC Bank. Mr. Bona Silalahi, Managing Director, Head of Consumer Goods and Industrials, Group Wholesale Banking, UOB. And from CO2X, we have Mr. C.K. Lim, Mr. Benjamin So, and Mr. Ted Chen. Now, let us introduce the witnesses of today's signing ceremony. Mr. Kwok Kwek Sin, Executive Director, Green Fintech Monetary Authority of Singapore. Mr. Law Chung Ming, Executive Director, Transport and Logistics, Enterprise Singapore. May we now invite all signatories to sign on the Memorandum of Understanding, please. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We look forward to realizing Singapore Green Plan 2030 vision of transforming into a global city of sustainability.
Traditional material handling processes have been viewed as inefficient, labor-intensive, and lacking in scalability. As the logistics industry progresses towards digitalization, Bolloré Logistics Singapore and Botsing have collaborated extensively to come up with an AMR-based automated solution aimed at transforming conventional warehouse handling. After a year of testing, fine-tuning and collaboration between both parties, the autonomous mobile robot MAG300 is finally developed. This solution will automate two logistics processes, order replenishment and preparation, both of which are mundane yet highly labor-intensive tasks.
We are always looking for innovative ways to improve productivity in the warehouse. With the employment of the MAG300, we can do away with low-value ending tasks, and our operators can focus on tasks with higher complexity and develop their professional skill sets.
This letter of intent commits Bolloré Logistics Singapore and Botsing to work together more closely towards the common goal, the pursuit of digital transformation in the logistics industry. Both parties are committed to improving the solution through continuous data analytics and system evaluations to enhance productivity while increasing work safety in the warehouse.
We believe that customers shouldn't have to struggle to adapt and implement automation. Our products are designed to adapt to users' conditions seamlessly, with minimal disruption. And this collaboration is a testament to our extensive efforts to ensure we provide a right-fit automation solution to support Bolloré achieve operational excellence.
Through continuous efforts and commitment, both parties are confident in taking the lead to automate processes in the logistics industry.
First, we have Mr. Don Ng, Business Director of Airpac Express Private Limited. Second, we have Mr. Richard Goh, Managing Director of Infolog Private Limited. Now for the witnesses. We have Mr. Aloysius Ong, Executive Director of Airpac Express Private Limited. And Mr. Candy Tan, Senior Manager of Infolog Private Limited. Now, may I invite both signatories to sign on the Memorandum of Understanding, please. Thank you, gentlemen.
Today's signing is to show commitment between Megafortress and Vitec to set up a new joint venture in Singapore. May the gentleman please proceed to sign on the MOU, please.
And now we have come to the final segment of today, and it's a very exciting topic. It's a topic that's emerged a lot in recent years, and it's about blockchain technology. So this next segment is titled "A Sharing on Blockchain Technology and What's in It for SMEs." This sharing will be conducted by Professor David Lee from the Singapore University of Social Science, or SUSS. He's also the chairman of the Global FinTech Institute. In his sharing, he will share reasons as to why SMEs should be aware of blockchain, examples of blockchain-based applications in the trade and connectivity space, some of the digital infrastructure and or capabilities that SMEs may require before embarking on blockchain adoption, the potential barriers to blockchain, and some SUSS-led initiatives that can help SMEs in the trade and connectivity space understand blockchain technology further. Professor Lee, please.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to be here, and I thank ESG for inviting me to share some of my views on post-COVID-19 business environment. Well, there have been a lot of new innovation, there have been a lot of nascent technology, and there's a change in the kind of human resource that required. Let's look into that. We are living through difficult times, but there are a lot of new technologies that will give us new business opportunity. In fact, I'm very bullish. And in fact, Singapore is in the best position to take advantage of the growth in the digital economy. So some of the questions here are given by you that you want to understand what is blockchain and why should SME be aware of it, and whether there are applications that are for trade and connectivity. What are some of the digital infrastructure and capabilities the SME must have within their company before they can adopt blockchain? What are some of the potential barriers to the adoption, whether it is education, whether it is knowledge, whether it's competency, or is it because of technology interoperability? What are some of the initiatives taken by Singapore University of Social Sciences, which I work for, and how we have helped the businesses as well as individuals to transform themselves to take advantage of this very bullish digital environment that we have. So this is what I'm going to talk about today, and feel free to ask any questions when I finish as well. There are quite a lot of misconceptions about blockchain. That if I adopt blockchain, I will need to be a technology expert. I will need to employ a lot more people, and I'm going to spend a lot more money. Frankly speaking, you don't have to. Okay, all you need to is to understand that things will not go back to normal after COVID. And that's a good thing, because for Singapore, we are ready for the post-COVID-19 with a lot of new digital infrastructure, which I'll talk to you about. Secondly, what we need to understand is that the virtual world will grow exponentially, a lot more than the physical world. And it is going to be a twin world, and it's going to allow us to serve beyond the 5 million people that we have here as SME. So this is the advantage of the digital economy. As long as you are plugged in, the world is your market, and we don't have to be there. Okay? We just have to be in the virtual world. And also to understand that everyone needs to retool and understand the benefits of relearning. I think once you get on to learning about technology, the fear will not be there, and then it becomes clear to you why technology can help you. A lot of people tell me that, what can I do? I'm just a traditional business, when you talk to me about technology, I'll just shut up. I will just shut off. Everything is going to go back to normal. I've been doing this for 30, 40 years. I will just continue doing what I'm going to do. I'm telling you, it is going to be different. And then we will understand the valuation of the new normal is about network effect and trust. If you go on to the highway of digital economy, which Singapore is building, Singapore government is done with building roads, is done with building most of the MRTs that we need. We are into digital infrastructure, right? Into green economy. And it's going to be all about network effect. It's all going to be about trust. It's all going to be about sustainability. So everyone needs to contribute ideas, use our own expertise for the network and to benefit from the network. And when you contribute, you're actually serving others. But in return, you will enjoy the fruits from this new disruption and the new ideas, because new businesses can be created easily. And all you have to do is your computer and your willingness to learn, which is your time. Okay? And you can see that there are 4 phases at the bottom: 众智、众平、众包、众享. What it means is that this is the new contributory economy that we need to crowdsource wisdom. Okay, don't be silenced in a chat group. Contribute the ideas. And blockchain is about the same. 众平, when you see some business models that work, you can share the ideas with the network, and then you can criticize and improve and solve the pain points of those business models, and that's 众平. And then 众包 is that you are always thinking about how to include as many people as possible such that everybody's interest is aligned. So 众包大家的利益. And the last one is 众享, whatever savings that we have from this network effect, whatever profits that we have from this network effect, everybody will be rewarded in accordance to their contribution. And this is what blockchain is in the business sense. Let me go even deeper into technology. How can I 深入浅出? Meaning, how can I explain to you technical terms in a language that can be understood by businessmen? Well, blockchain is a very technical subject, and they talk about trust machine. They talk about disrupting business model of trusted third party. What are they talking about? Well, what they are talking about is on the right-hand side. It is a movement to lower the cost of trust in an untrusted environment. Basically, what happens is that we have a lot of trusted third party in the traditional business. They provide very good services and a trust between the buyer and the seller. A trust between people who are insured and people who are providing the insurance. They are all very important. However, due to regulation and due to the new technology, not only that we can lower costs, we can help the regulator to make a lot more things transparent and therefore lower the compliance costs. So the whole movement is about lowering the cost of trust. And when you lower the cost of trust, you can have the savings and distribute it to the entire network. And this is what blockchain is about. And they talk about consensus. Everybody got to come together and form consensus. And that is very technical. But in the businessman language, it just means that all of us will be giving order. All of us will be governing the network. All of us will be giving the legitimacy to the network through our contribution, so that even though we don't trust each other, with our contribution, the entire network will be trusted by everybody. This is the most important part of blockchain. Okay. Then you hear about mining and staking. China is banning mining, and a lot of people are making money from the staking yield. Now, in business, it just means that it is allowing business to participate and share the profits. You could be a miner to help to build the legitimacy. You could be a developer that's giving order. You could be writing the code, and the code is giving the governance, and we are auditing the computer codes. So we are helping the computer codes to govern the entire network. And if you do that, you participate, you will be able to share the profits. And then how do we share the profits? Well, the rewards are given through tokens or sometimes cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency is a reward for those who prove their worth by acting in the interest of the majority and by contributing their work. And then you hear a lot about pain points. What do they mean? Well, it is for government to distribute benefits to all via the building of public infrastructure, because there are so many pain points, there are so many bottlenecks, there are so many market failures that without an offline central authority, there will be no order. It's difficult to organize people to come together. So the government build the highway, and the government build the on-ramp, so that all of us can go onto the highway and enjoy the highway and move our business from one area to another through connectivity and trade. And you can see that there's central bank digital currency, there's trade trust, and there's also OpenCert in Singapore. These are just some of the examples. And in businessman terms, is that the government is providing this software or digital infrastructure to allow businesses to come together, to collaborate, and then they make the money. We are distributing the savings, okay, via the reward to those who participate, and ensure that there is no market failure. When they first started the movement, they believe in 100% decentralization. No jurisdiction, no third party, no trusted third parties, no knowledge of counterparty, no recourse, no reversal of enforcement. But when you start using blockchain in the real world, there's no such thing. You'll find that new trusted third parties will be created. And in fact, those are the best opportunities for SMEs. But first, we need to understand how many types of blockchain there are, and what they are, and what they do. We have open and closed blockchain. By open, we mean that you can download the software, run it, and you become a node in the entire network. In the last slide, I mentioned node is basically those who are participating using the computer and electricity. So it's all your computing power that's needed. Well, what differentiates public permissionless, which is the most open, with the rest? Well, anyone can read, anyone can write, and anyone can commit to the blockchain. And any other restrictions, you will have other different type of blockchain. What is it all about? It is about collaboration efficiency. It's about bringing people together. It's about everybody contributing their own expertise, so that new business models are created, third parties are not there, profits are shared. That's what blockchain is about. Now, blockchain is about design thinking and never perfect. Most commercial blockchain will use private permission architecture to optimize the network openness and scalability. Commercial organization doesn't want to be totally open, especially they have information that are private to guard, and therefore they put a lot of information into centralized server. Sometimes they put it into private blockchain. They too will use a public blockchain to establish trust and prove that they have certain information. So blockchain is for solving pain points, and different design will solve different pain points. You look at the table, we have public, private, permissionless, and permission blockchain. Each has its pros and cons, and depending on the pain points that you're trying to solve, you can have different combination of blockchain to address the pain points that you are facing. For example, you may want to reduce the cost of trust, or you may want to build a group to bypass the high cost trusted third parties and share the savings among you. Okay. You may be thinking about connecting with other groups in the most efficient way, okay, such that you can operate seamlessly and efficiently. All this contribute to lowering your your cost and increasing your bottom line. Now, this is a diagram to show you that what we're talking about is distributed databases, meaning there are many nodes. You have SMEs, distributed database, and every SME will have a copy of the database. And we organize them to record the transaction of anything of economic value. It becomes a distributed ledger. And if you organize the ledger in blocks, then it becomes a blockchain. And if permission is needed to use the blockchain, it becomes a permission blockchain. So this is the hierarchy of blockchain that we look at. So what's so interesting about blockchain? Well, let me tell you, every block has got a fingerprint. Every transaction has a fingerprint. Every set of transactions within a block also has a fingerprint. And what's even more interesting, part of the fingerprint of the latest block, which is 165, consists of the fingerprint from the previous block, 164. Similarly, the fingerprint of 164, part of it is formed by the fingerprint of block 163. In other words, if you change any of the fingerprint from 0 to 163 to 164, any one of them, block 165 fingerprint is going to change. Your data or your ledger is safe with the fingerprint. And because all these blocks are chained together by cryptography I mean fingerprints are just hashes, cryptographic hash, and therefore is known as blockchain. It was only known as chain or block initially, but later the word block and chain has become one word, blockchain. When Satoshi Nakamoto first created Bitcoin, his idea was to have a peer-to-peer exchange of value between two untrusted parties. So it's peer-to-peer payment. So first generation is just purely cryptocurrency, or MAS call it payment tokens. Second generation is the Ethereum network. It not only has a ledger for Ether, the cryptocurrency, but it also have a ledger for computer codes. And some of the computer codes are known as smart contracts. So with the Ether, you can ask the community or the network to execute your smart contract. So you pay for it. And if it's busy, you pay more. If your computer codes are more complicated, you pay more. And then when the next state comes, after you have executed the smart contract, new block is being formed with the ledger recording the payment transaction as well as the new smart contract that is executed. Okay. So the third generation is under development. Okay, we can see that it's decentralized finance or DeFi, metaverse, which is like a multiverse. If you watch Ready Player One, you put on your goggles and your suit, you can go into the virtual world. And of course, you're familiar with non-fungible token, or known as NFT. And some of you are familiar with stable coins and also central bank digital currencies. So what can blockchain do for trade and connectivity? Take a look at the diagram. First is a disintermediation of trust on the left side. Then is a immutability of record, which means that you have the safety of the record from previously, because they're all chained by cryptography. The fingerprint of the previous block is in the fingerprint of this block, and so on. You can't change any of those fingerprint, because you change it, everything in the subsequent block will change. And then there's smart contracts, which power a lot of application that we have. So with these three, we can do a lot of things. We can do capital market services, financial services, payment services, loyalty programs, Internet of Things, insurance and media. And you say, hey, whatever I'm doing is in there. What's the difference? Well, there's a major difference. There's no trusted third party. We have just disintermediated the trusted third party. So you save the cost on that. And what do you do with that? Well, if you are node, if you are community or SME that participate in the network, then these savings are being distributed to all of you. But how do we distribute them? Well, it's distributed via cryptocurrency. Okay, so you can own anything in the virtual world. How do I own that? Using smart contract. How do we own it through the smart contract? Well, the smart contract says that the non-fungible token belongs to you. So it defines property right in the virtual space. And because it is decentralized, it doesn't belong to one company. It belongs to everybody. As long as there are group of SME that participate, it will be there forever. And the record is immutable. Whatever you own through the non-fungible token or NFTs through the smart contract will be there forever. And because of that, people who wants to live their life in the virtual world as an avatar, they started buying land, they started buying paintings, because it's the twin reflection of the physical world. So whatever you're doing as SME in the physical world, you can do the same in the metaverse, exactly the same. A lot of people have the misconception that when you use blockchain, then the whole world will be chaotic because nobody is in charge. We have to make a distinction between on-chain governance and off-chain governance. In the virtual space, it may be totally decentralized. But in the physical world, it's off-chain. There will still be a centralized authority or a group of people who is conversant enough to dictate how the blockchain is functioning. So over here, if you look at the 4 different boxes, we can see that if human is governing human, this is what we are familiar with, law and regulation. But human can also dictate how blockchain should be run. So if you look at the top right-hand corner, the human will govern the blockchain. And that's what a lot of people are missing. Okay, on the left-hand bottom, you can see that blockchain with the coding can influence the human behavior, such that in order to get the reward or to avoid punishment, they will act in accordance to what the code is asking them to do. If they perform those duties, they get the reward or they will not be punished. And blockchain too can also govern blockchain. So in future, we will see that AI will be in blockchain. There will be AI in blockchain and blockchain in AI. And blockchain can use the AI to govern blockchain. So the computer codes will govern the computer codes to give permission or some precondition that the blockchain has reached, that what the next step would be. So all in all, blockchain online and offline is to improve collaboration efficiency by making things traceable and transparent including human behavior. Of course, we have to worry about privacy protection, and there are ways. At the end of the day, it's about lower the cost of trust. Let me give you a more specific example of how blockchain works. There's a company called Demoto. On the left, you could see that fruits are being harvested, and every individual fruit as well as the carton are digitalized and tokenized and tracked throughout the entire supply chain transit all the way to the shop. One major issue faced in any industry is cost, in particularly the cost of documentation. So the documents that record transactions is a huge source of inefficiency in trade, and you can think of product certificate of origin, bill of lading, holding certificate, and permits are all essential to the supply chain. Food products require additional certificates to meet specific requirement or transit or destination. Submission and tracking of these documents create cost and inconvenience, especially you have to be physically present. So documentation and administrative fees are estimated to about 20% of transportation costs, without taking into consideration of mishandling and other issues. In some countries, the process can take up to many weeks, resulting in huge delay, and especially for food products. So Demoto helps to increase the supply chain feasibility for both suppliers and buyers, so that you can see that both the receipt of goods and feedback are done on a single platform. You are able to track quality issues down to the individual cartons, and easily accessible photos and related trade documents are all on the blockchain. And this brings visibility to the trade, and you have one single truth with digitalization and data. So all the avocado here, the qualities are being tracked. Well, the first step in the process for adopting blockchain is digitalization. You create a digital record, then you tokenize it, which means that the digital record is shared with each participant in the supply chain, and each time an item moves from the supply chain, this is recorded on the blockchain as part of a block or discrete unit of data. This is then given a unique fingerprint or identity in the form of a code called a hash or digest, which is generated by a hash algorithm. The hash or digest boils down any piece of information, however long and complicated, into a jumbled numbers of letters of fixed length. So such a transparent system creates a way of tracing responsibility, which can help to protect buyers and sellers, minimizes food wastage and facilities greater efficiencies in international trade. Buyers and sellers will have an independent history of the counterparty. Any mishaps in transit can be accurately traced to the responsible party. This encourages anyone to be accountable, especially in ensuring that food products are not damaged or mishandled. So blockchain and private storage system can be used concurrently. The blockchain will be used to store hashes, while private data storage are used to store the original information. So you can have photos, shipping certificates, product measurement, and so on. So you can see that in conjunction with other technology, IoT, RFID tags, and so on, you can make everything very transparent. So the information stored by QR code and RFID is fed into the blockchain and recorded on the ledger to be shared up and down in the supply chain. So how the smart contract comes in? Well, unlike a digital contract, we know smart contract is decentralized. These codes are stored on the blockchain, and the contract is self-executing at the moment when the terms of agreement as recorded in the contract codes are met. So such contracts help to facilitate trade without the need of centralized authority, reduce paperwork, and also mitigate the risk of fraud in the supply chain, and more importantly, lower your cost. So for 10-cent contract value, you can just run it on your blockchain. This is another company, okay, called Veritech. So all certificates related to the product are linked to the product through Singapore government endorsed certification body. All shipments can be linked to the tag so that when customer scan them, they get the full information of the tracking. So this is very useful, especially you are worrying about food safety, or you are doing NFTs for your paintings or any other products that you may have, that you produce, you manufacture, that you want to track them. This is another application called FarmTrack. You can tokenize livestock, and once the livestock is tokenized and tracked by IoT, you will then be able to buy insurance. Insurance companies are willing to insure, and once insurance company insure, you can use the token as collateralized and borrow at a much lower interest rate. And the token itself can also be fractionalized, and different people own the same cow. You can use it for fundraising as well. Well, if you ask me what are the challenges for blockchain to have wide adoption, I have 10 challenges here. Each challenge is an SME opportunity. So if you look closely at all these challenges, and I call it enablers as well, you can provide this to those who are using blockchain, then your company are contributing to the blockchain community. First, communication infrastructure. Not everyone is connected by 5G or internet. 50% of the people in Asia, they are not. Great business. You can connect them by satellite and mesh network. Secondly, privacy protection is very important. You may not have any secret, but surely you do not want people to look at you while you're changing or when you're having a shower. So privacy protection is key for doing business. So privacy protection is a very good business. And providing security on this network is important too. And the trust distribution governance is important too. So you can set up organization or company to provide trust distribution and governance. That is another area of very good business for SME. The other thing is digital literacy and user experience is still not up to par yet. There's still some pain points there. And then portable digital identity, we know that Temasek is well invested in this area, and they're always looking for companies to invest in. Okay, and easy compliance. You got to come up with technology to have transparency and traceability, and yet with privacy protection, so that the regulators will have easier compliance. There will be ease of compliance. The next one is comprehensive data and Oracle ecosystem. When you have smart contract, you will need to draw data from a third party or another source. So you can provide data to smart contracts. So that's the Oracle ecosystem has yet to be developed. It's another very good area to look into. And of course, training talent, knowledge, giving knowledge, and also helping to scale upgrade. Those are very good business. And regional and national digital infrastructure is also very important. There are a lot of companies helping the government to beef up their digital infrastructure. And if you look at one of the reports I've written for ADB, fundings are available for many countries to upgrade their digital infrastructure or to build the digital infrastructure from scratch. and it is a very good business for SME. Finally, awareness raising and piloting is important too, and if you can help to audit the codes, if you can help to be an experimental nodes, there will always be reward for participating. So do watch out so that you can be one of the nodes and get the reward for it. MES has also its Business Sense Borders project, which aims to ignite a sea change in the way SMEs around the world can easily connect digitally with each other. So Singapore is talking about central bank digital currency. Singapore is talking about identity for individual all around the world, as well as for corporate identity. Once we have that, anyone with a corporate identity or individual identity can plug in to either the ESG or BSD, and as SME, we can service all of them. So the earlier you are plugged into any of this digital infrastructure, the more you will learn as all this network starts to transform and upgrade themselves. And IMDA has its trade trust as well. I think a lot of you are familiar. If you are not, basically is doing the same thing that I was talking about. Is for legal harmonization, is for accreditation structure, is for standards development, and is for open source software. So do spend some time learning how to use the trade trust, and I'm sure in your business you will have to use it one way or another. And there's also a OTB or Open Trade Blockchain. Okay. It is a cross-border blockchain solution that connects trade communities. So do take a look at what they're doing. It is an open trade blockchain and it's a permission blockchain of trusted nodes for trade communities. And you are in trade, you should pay attention to this OTB. It's also important to understand the technology roadmap of Singapore. We are trying to integrate ecosystem, enhance policy and regulation and standards, providing physical and digital infrastructure, okay, and industrializing digital and tokenization, and of course promoting research and innovation. All these have been taking place for the past few years, and as SME, I hope you'll pay attention to this. If you find that all this technology are too much for you to digest, there are systematic ways to acquire knowledge and also to enhance competency in the digital economy. In SUSS, we have the Blockchain Living Lab, and we look at different ways and application for blockchain so that we have a whole new different approach to business, finance, and insurance. So do come and join us and to learn in a systematic way. SUSS is one of the earliest university to provide a very comprehensive syllabus for AI, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and decentralized finance. You can look at the subjects here. They are certificate courses, and you can accumulate enough points to get a graduate diploma by attending these courses. And if you attend more courses, that will lead you to a master in finance specializing in fintech. I would say that nowhere else in the world offers such comprehensive training in ABCD, and SUSS is certainly one that has spent a lot of time in designing this syllabus. So do take a look at what they have to offer. If you wish to have a global professional qualification, you can go for the Chartered FinTech Professional. It is started and sponsored by SUSS and Shanghai University of Finance and Economics. You look at the subjects, you can see that what you learn is the history of how China has developed itself from nothing to today, where they lead the world in the digital economy. And it also helps you to understand the landscape of whole of Asia, Europe, and the US. So if you wish to understand how your SME can harness the technology so that you can have sustainable growth, this is one qualification that you may want to look into. So like I said, the new era is about everyone, every company serving the society. Ravi Menon, the Managing Director of Monetary Authority of Singapore, said everything we do in fintech, and you can extend that to technology, must always have a larger purpose to improve the lives of individuals, to build a more dynamic economy, to promote a more inclusive society. So it's no coincidence that MAS is promoting green finance. The whole of Singapore is looking at green economy. At the same time, we are looking into financial inclusion, trade and connectivity inclusion. There's still many countries, still many islands, still many people that are not connected. And Singapore is playing the role to connect them without going on site sometimes. Of course, it will be good that you can travel to remote area, but there are many instances that you don't even have to be in those countries. Having just a computer and your time and your willingness to change the mindset and learn the new technology, you will be able to harness a lot of goodness for your business. I've used a lot of materials from many people, and I have not acknowledged them in the slides. The references are given in all these books. As you can see, SUSS have been producing a series of books now, probably more than 10 on digital economy. If you are interested, those are the websites that you can take a look. There are recordings, there are materials, there are articles that are available for free. So I hope you will spend your time looking into the digital economy, and there are so many low-hanging fruits. Remember, the physical economy is not going to grow as fast as the digital economy. So be a first mover, be there first.
Thank you, Professor Lee. I'm sure, like what Professor has said, there might be a lot for us to digest in the last 40 minutes of sharing, especially if we are new to blockchain. But fret not, industry partners like SUSS can work with you to help you understand how you can adopt blockchain and in a systematic way. If you'd like to know more, feel free to reach out to our team to understand further. Alternatively, you can reach out to SUSS directly. And with that, we have now come to the end of today's events, which also happens to mark the conclusion of the Singapore Transport and Logistics Insight series. We hope that it has been a fulfilling experience for everyone. And once again, we cannot wait to embark on the Trade and Connectivity Challenge 2021. Today marks the start of an exciting journey as we look to uncover many new innovative solutions in the trade and connectivity space over the next few months. With that, I would like to convey my heartfelt thanks to our speakers, panelists, and guests for the time that you have given us for today, and we hope to see you soon in person. Thank you very much and have a great weekend ahead. Bye bye.